Welcome, Bills Mafia, to the Redzone Report. This is your host, Izzy, and the Redzone Report is brought to you by PLB Sports and Entertainment, the makers of Josh's Jacks, the JA17 Coffee Line, and the Diggs 14 line of hot sauces. Welcome to the show. Please enjoy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Redzone Report right here on the Built-in Buffalo YouTube network, also on our Facebook channel and our Twitter. Welcome and thank you for being here and enjoying this offseason with me. I know that the regular season ended in an abrupt way, but you know what? We ain't worried about that. We're worried about next year. Can't change the past. The future's ahead of us. But we're going to go over a little bit of the past just in the last little time frame, and then we're going to get into the actual meat and potatoes of the show, which happens to be the way week one basically went a free agency. So, without further ado, Kim Boomhauer, happy Sunday. Kebby, everything's all good, man. Just having a magnificent 3-day weekend, as I tend to do. And, my buddy Fady up in here, go Bills. Let's go. All right, so we'll discuss the transactions that have taken place for the Bills since the offseason started, right? And they signed a bunch of practice squad guys, Eli Onku, Alec Anderson, Matt Barkley, Zach Davison, Jamarcus Ingram, Keyshawn Johnson, Desmond Patman, Kyler McMichael, Kingsley Jonathan, who I actually do like quite a bit, Ryan Van Demark, Greg Mans. They signed a bunch of our guys that were already in the practice squad, right? So that's what we're doing from that point forward. Then in February, Leslie Frazier stepped down, so we're going to see some more of McDermott going forward. And then named Austin Gund as offensive assistant, offensive line coach, Adam Henry, wide receiver coach, Al Holcomb, senior defensive assistant, and Kyle Shermer. We actually had to replace Chad Hall at wide receiver coach, which is why Adam Henry is here. He came from Indiana, the Hoosiers, and he has a connection with OBJ, so that's been spewing rumors for a while now. We signed Zane Anderson to a 2-year contract, safety from the Chiefs. He was in the practice squad, and named Joe Dana the safeties coach. So here we go. On to March's transactions. We re-signed offensive lineman Ike Butker. I know I'm breezing through these guys, and you guys might have some comments. I'm not trying to ignore your comments, but I'm just trying to get through what has happened already so we can get to, what is coming. We re-signed Cam Lewis to a 1-year deal, agreed to terms with safety Sam Martin on a 3-year contract. Love that. Love bringing back Sam Martin. He's a Buffalo, kind of guy, and he's been the best punter that we've had in a single season since Brian Moorman's been here. So happy to have him back. He's been a very precise kicker or punter. So yeah, agreed to terms with linebacker Tyler Matakevich on a 1-year contract, bringing back some of the core special teams guys. These are not players that guys are like, oh my God, we have to have Tyler Matakevich. But you also don't want to lose some of your guys that are the meat and potatoes of your special teams. So you gotta bring some of those guys back. You don't want to bring all of them back. You got Tywan Jones out there. You've got Serrani on the team, who's actually quite a substantial cap hit. He could be restructured, reworked, or extended or cut, depending on how they want to go with the special teams. I don't think he's going anywhere, but that's just my opinion. It's not that I want him to stay or want him to go. I'm kind of indifferent on that. We also re-signed Tyrell Dodson to a 1-year contract. We signed wide receiver Deontay Hardy, formerly Deontay Harris of the New Orleans Saints, to a 2-year contract. It's a nice little contract. We signed quarterback Kyle Allen, most likely to be our backup. Barkley will probably be in the practice squad again. Barkley likes being here, and he gets paid well to be on that practice squad and advise Josh. And Kyle Allen, one of Josh's best friends, he actually trains with Jesse Palmer out there in California. So, he should know some of the tendencies of this offense already, even though he shouldn't know the offense. Connor McGovern from the Cowboys signed a 3-year deal. And Jordan Poyer, who we thought we were losing. We thought that we were going to lose Edmonds and Poyer. We lost Edmonds. He got overpaid drastically by the Bears, in my opinion. He's one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL, top 5, maybe top 3 in the NFL in coverage. However, he has been a liability in the run game. And so he actually signed a massive deal that's going to pay him upward of $18 million a year with the Bears. Good on him. Wish him nothing but the best. As you see, I have his jersey there that's signed and autographed, and I have another one right here. So I have the blue and the white. The white one's autographed. So I do like Tremaine Edmonds, but it was a little too rich for my blood based on what happened. We also re-signed Dane Jackson to a 1-year deal, and we released wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie, and that's probably mostly due to the fact that we signed Deontay Hardy, who, from what I understand, Brandon Beane wanted last year. So the Bills have made moves. The Bills have gone out and done some things, but they have not made the big splash plays that we've come to expect from this offseason, right? Like every year they make at least one kind of splash move. However, they don't always make the splash move that you want, and they also don't always make the splash move early. A lot of times they'll wait for the market to dry up, and then they will go ahead and then put it in that big move. There's some guys on the list that I have today, which I have 15 players from different positions, mostly positions of need for the Bills, that could come in and make an impact on this roster. Let me go ahead and take a look at some of these comments up here. Say, what up, gang? Bobby Hall, welcome to the party, buddy. Cam Miller, let's go. Kebby, I'm frustrated. I keep seeing all these teams getting way better, and we are sitting still, but I get it. I will actually address this one directly, right? So these other teams are getting better on paper. Yes, they are getting better on paper, and to some of us that matters. To me, it does and it doesn't, right? When if like the Dolphins got Jalen Ramsey, that makes them better, in my opinion, right? Byron Jones left. They missed him. They have Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey. They easily now have the best cornerback tandem in the NFL. We don't know how that's going to work out, though. We know that right now, on paper, they should be the best cornerback tandem in the NFL. I just said that. But we have no idea if Jalen Ramsey is going to be able to work out there. We don't know. And I do know this. Josh hasn't lost to Jalen Ramsey. In fact, he punishes him every time we play him. So there's that. That's the guy we can go ahead and punish 2 times a year now because I don't like him. So eat that, Jalen Ramsey. But I understand the frustration. I get it. David Highland, go Bills. Keep it simple, baby. Let's go. So better on paper, maybe, yes. And Frank Clark, he might be on the list. And as usual, I made slides of all the guys. It's just something I do. It helps me keep my research kind of in an organized fashion, right? Like, so offensive lineman, there's not really a lot of stats to go off of other than sacks allowed, penalties, and then PFF grades. That's basically all you can find on offensive linemen. But on the rest of the players, there's plenty of stats. So I looked up all that stuff today, did my research, and made sure that I had all my ducks in a row before I come on here to talk to you guys about the team that we love and the moves that it can make. And, of course, every player is organized, with their background to the color of the team that they just left, and now they're free agents. So, of course, you'll recognize some of these slides and see the color coordination. I do my best to do that. But, guys, without further ado, the Buffalo Bills, they had very, they've had a very blah offseason when it comes to making free agent moves, other than signing Jordan Poyer, right? It's been like the one move that we're like, yes, we got somebody, and it was our own guy. So basically we didn't lose him, but he wasn't on the roster anymore. So technically we gained him. It depends on how you look at it. Now, to me, I'm looking at it as we get to keep the band together. Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, all back here. all ready to play for the Buffalo Bills. I'm happy for it. Let's go Bills. Now, the players that we're looking at here, I'm going to go from worst to first, in my opinion. I ordered these things in order from 1 to 15, and I'm going to go backwards on the list. Right? Got to keep your attention. And there's some names here that the Bills have been linked to, who I put in there because I could find more information on them. And there's some guys here that I don't know if they've been linked to or not. But here we go. First guy on the list I saw today and or yesterday that the Bills were linked to this player. He is a big man. He's a big dude. And he plays for the Seattle Seahawks this past year. And he is a 311-pound monster of a man. His name is Punam Ford. Now, Punam Ford racked up 26 tackles, 6 assisted tackles. So that's 32 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 6 sacks from the interior. Not bad. 30 hurries, 9 QB hits, and 45 pressures. His PFF grade overall was 56.2. His run defense grade was 52. That kind of gives me a little pause because we need to get better against the run. And I don't know if signing somebody like Punam Ford is going to do that, which is why I put him at the bottom of my list. And his pass defense grade, so, trying to go out there and get after the quarterback, is 60.7. If you want to bring him in as like a backup, rotational defensive tackle, he basically, to me, screams Tim Settle, right? He screams Tim Settle to me. He's a high-effort guy. He doesn't grade well, but he doesn't ever quit. And I appreciate that in a rotational backup guy who's not going to see the field as much as an Ed Oliver or a Daquan Jones, who I think the Bills should and probably will extend. Punam Ford is an option out there. However, he's not that. He doesn't appear to be that cheap. Let's go ahead and look at there. $9.2 million as an estimated salary, and that's by Spot Track, right? We have no idea what he's actually going to get paid. It's actually a little late for him to get paid top dollar, in my opinion. I think that he's the kind of guy who you can bring in, again, rotational only. He's not a starter, and to me, it wouldn't be that big a deal. It wouldn't be that big a deal. I think that he's being overestimated when it comes to pay. Now, the next guy on the list is safety from the Miami Dolphins, Eric Rowe. Now, he's played for a bunch of teams, the Eagles, the Dolphins, the Patriots. He's been around the way, right? I think he even played for the Titans at one point. He would be specifically a rotational guy since we lost Jaquan Johnson. You bring him in here. He's a body for a while until you potentially either draft somebody or he sticks if you beat somebody out who's a draft pick. This year he had 45 solo tackles, 9 assists, 2 forced fumbles, 2 sacks. He missed 6 tackles, no interceptions. Passer rate allowed, he allowed a 110 passer rating. Okay, that's kind of a lot. He's a safety, but that's kind of a lot. And in yards per catch allowed, 12.5. Overall PFF grade, 57.3. Run defense grade, 74.5. Pass rush grade, 70.4. Coverage grade, 49.5. And estimated salary, $3 million. Now, that's doable to me. To me, that's something that we can do. The Bills can go out there and they can sign Eric Rowe, and he can be a backup safety. He can be on the roster behind Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, learning this new scheme, maybe schematics or something that caused him to not have as good a year last year. But I've seen him play well when he was in New England and when he was in Philadelphia. Maybe the Dolphins just weren't a defensive fit. They kind of underperformed and underachieved on defense. They looked better later in the year, but Kevin says Jaquan Johnson was awful. He was awful. He was a good tackler, but that's about it. He's a hitter. He's a special teamer, and you already have Saran Neal, so you're not going to extend Jaquan Johnson. You're not going to cut off your nose and spite your face. You already have somebody on the roster who's signed, so why would you do that? You wouldn't. Right? But you bring him in, he takes Jaquan Johnson's old spot. He may be the third safety if he's better than DeMar Hamlin, or if the Bills want to wait on bringing DeMar Hamlin out, till later on. We'll see. But as of right now, I think DeMar's going to end up on the pup list for a while. I don't know if anybody's here watches The Masked Singer, but DeMar and his brother Demir were on The Masked Singer this past week. Pretty cool stuff. Nice to see, him get out there and, get some shine after, what happened to him. But I think that the Bills going after a safety of free agency like Eric Rowe, who is a lower end guy, especially after they just got Boyer, gives them a little stability in the back half of the defense to go out there. He's more of a box safety, if you ask me. He's a solid tackler. He's decent in coverage. Not great. But you know what? I think that he could be a valuable asset to this team, especially on rundowns. Now, we move on to the next player on my list, Ezekiel Elliott. Now, I know a lot of people are going to have Ezekiel Elliott higher up on the list, right? Running back from the Cowboys this past year, his decline has not been abrupt. It's been kind of visible every year. People have been like, I don't know, he's kind of falling off. I don't know, he's kind of falling off. I don't know, he's kind of falling off. Now that his guaranteed money is out, the Cowboys decided to, dispatch of that contract and remove him from their roster. And now he's a free agent. His estimated salary is $10 million per year. I wouldn't pay that to a running back anyway. And that's kind of why he's down here at 13. I wouldn't have him in there, like that. To me, it's not beneficial, right? So to me, if he comes cheap, go get him, right? But he had 231 carries this past year, 871 yards, 3.8 yards per carry. He did have 12 rushing touchdowns, so that's still good. He's still good rushing the ball. If you're on the goal line and you don't want to give Josh Allen these carries to, get hurt and stuff like that, you put in Zeke, you let him hammer it out. He also had 7 catches for 92 yards, 0 passing touchdowns. This is Zeke Elliott. He's a solid back. People say he sucks. I don't think he sucks, but I also, I also don't think that he is great. He's an okay back. Not a big fan of Zeke. I'm not either. I'm with you here. Like, me and you are on the same page on that one. I like him, but I don't love him. I'm not a fan. And I think he's on the decline. And I think that signing him to big money would be a huge mistake. I think that Ezekiel Elliott has his place in the NFL still. And I think that Ezekiel Elliott can still do some damage on a roster. I don't want him doing damage to our roster. And that's where I stand with that. I like him, but keep him away from my squad if it's expensive. I think this might be the last year of Hyde player. It might be, especially if the Bills draft a safety. Right? If they go after a Sidney Brown from Illinois, or they go after the kid from Texas A&M or the kid from Bama, their names are eluding me right now. This could very well be the end of the Poyer Hyde, thing. With Poyer's contract, they can get out of it next year and not have to pay him too much. I think it's only halfway guaranteed, or a little bit more than that. If they really wanted to start anew at safety, I don't know if that's going to be the case. But if it's me, I extend Hyde for one more year and keep him for the next 2. Draft one this year, draft one next year, and then you have a new safety tandem. And that's what I would do. That's just me. I'm no roster builder, but I try. We may even do a mock draft on this if you guys want. Just let me know. Keep me posted on that. All right, so next guy on the list, number 12, is tackle Isaiah Wynn of the New England Patriots. Now, again, not a lot of stats on these guys because he's an offensive lineman, but his overall was a 54.6. Yikes. Pass blocking, 52.8. Okay. And run blocking, 63.2. Now, all of these are better than Spencer Brown's grades. All of them are better than Spencer Brown's grades. He had 9 penalties. He allowed 4 sacks, and he allowed 2 QB hits on top of that. His estimated salary, for some reason, is $15.4 million. Right? And on that salary, if it's that salary, I pass immediately. You can keep him. No, thank you. The man is an average right tackle or an average tackle in the NFL. Why would you sign an average tackle at $15.4 million? I wouldn't do it, and neither should you. If you do, that's not my business because you're not the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills need to make sure they're getting players around who can handle business. Now, if he comes in at a cool $4 million a year, which is what it looks like he's worth to me, I'd sign him up. I'd give some direct competition to your guy in Spencer Brown. My man says Spencer Brown will be better this season. I think he will too. Last year, he was coming off that back surgery, and he didn't have an offseason really. He was rehabbing, and then he got to training camp and he couldn't practice. Then he got to the preseason, he couldn't play. And his preseason was the first few weeks of the season. And you can tell he just wasn't right. He wasn't able to bend and flex and move the way he should have been. But, that comes with surgery. But, Bills fans and fans of other football teams are generally less forgiving when it comes to stuff like that. They don't really pay attention to that whole thing. You gotta recognize that, some of these fans are not going to respect the fact that he just went through back surgery. But you still bring in somebody who can give a little competition, whether it's through the draft, late round pick, or if it's, through free agency where you have a contract that you can easily get rid of after the fact. And Isaiah Wynn, if he comes to that, then fine. I think he's, my 12th best player left in free agency who would be a fit for this roster at a position that we need. There are other players, who might be better than some of these guys that are still out there, but I wasn't going to put them on the list. And not every position is represented on the list, obviously. Now, some more comments. Here we go. Still needs competition, though. Absolutely. And I did cover that. So this is a no excuse year for Spencer Brown. This last year feels like it from some fans. But I'd say, this next year is year 3. This is the year that McDermott says year 3 is the year when you find out who a player really is. Well, Spencer Brown, you have a perfect 10 RAS score, right? So relative athletic score is a perfect 10. It's put up or shut up time, right? So please put up. Now, number 11. Number 11 is running back Leonard Fournette. Now, I have him ahead of Zeke because he was used more sparing than Zeke was. He still produced at a decent level. The team was not good this year. They lost Alex Kappa and a bunch of other players. And because of that, Leonard Fournette and the running backs in Tampa, and also Tom Brady struggled this year, and that's the thing. However, just because you struggled because of an offensive line doesn't mean that you get a pass. Right? Because our running backs have struggled because of our offensive line. So if you struggle because of one and ours did too, then we might as well just stick with what we got. So he had 189 carries, 668 yards, 3.5 yards per carry, 3 rushing touchdowns, 73 receptions. This is where it's impressive right here, Leonard Fournette. He had 73 receptions this year, 523 yards, and 3 passing touchdowns or receiving touchdowns. He had 0 fumbles this year, and his estimated salary is $2.3 million. Give me him over Zeke every freaking time. All right, give me him over Zeke every freaking time. I will take a Leonard Fournette at $2.3 million instead of a Zeke at 10, which is an estimate. Again, he's probably going to get far less than that, but not the point. Do you think they're going to trade Epenesa, Basham, Ed Oliver? Possibly Basham. Maybe Ed Oliver if they find a player in free agency or the draft that they really want. I wouldn't expect an Oliver trade before the draft. And a Basham trade can come anytime. He might not get traded, though, because this is his 3rd year. This is the year that they get to find out who and what he is to them. So I don't know if Basham's gone. Epenesa, I don't think so. I think that they actually value Epenesa. And here's the thing. I was trapped in my own thoughts that Epenesa was a scrub. Epenesa played about 40% of snaps on defense this year. He had 6.5 sacks. I did not know that whilst complaining about Epenesa not being that great. And my thing is I love A.J. Epenesa. I've been a fan of his since we drafted him. That big guy who can just get around people and he's powerful. And to me, he is better than what he plays, but, the results are what matters. I didn't know he had 6.5 sacks. I thought he had 2 sacks. I looked it up, 6.5. I was like, whoa, where did that come from? It was the quietest 6.5 sacks I've ever seen. And a couple years ago, we were sitting here praising Mario Addison for having 5.5. Get out of here with that. Epenesa had a nice, solid year. I think he'll be here. They may even extend him because he's not going to be very expensive. But they may wait. But I actually think that Epenesa is better than what a lot of Bills fans think. There's that. Patria Driscoll, let's go. That's right. Let's go. And Junie says, should the Bills go after Dalvin Cook if it's not too expensive, or should the Bills just draft a power back? I would draft a power back. I have running backs on my list here. I've already shown 2, Ezekiel Elliott and Leonard Fournette, and I might not be done. But let's go ahead and get back to the list. Excuse me. So last guy we looked at was Leonard Fournette. Next guy is a linebacker. So this is, I can't even see it. Now I gotta see now. All right, look at this. Anthony Walker. So Anthony Walker, he's not a highly known linebacker, and it took me some real thought and research to put him this high on the list at 10, right? To me, he is a scheme fit for the Bills, right? He was hurt this past year. He had 10 solo tackles, 3 assists, 0 forced fumbles, 0 sacks, 0 missed tackles. Passer rating allowed, though, 64.4. Very, very good, right? That's very, very good for a linebacker, right? That's Tremaine Edmonds-ish when it comes to that. In fact, he's got a higher coverage grade than Tremaine Edmonds at a 90. However, also, his run defense grade was about the same as Tremaine Edmonds, but his pass rush grade was not near as good. Overall, an 82.7, though, PFF grade. So, the question is it because he didn't have most of the year where he was hurt to really show what he could do? Or is he just a coverage linebacker who's not really good against the run? We have no idea. However, I think the prospects of Anthony Walker are good. And it took me some research, and I can't believe I forgot his name once I got on the show, but it is what it is, fine. I think that he could be a pickup that the Bills are looking at. I think I heard a rumor that they were looking at him. I wouldn't be disappointed. Remember, we got Jordan Poyer off the ruptured spleen from Cleveland, and you can see something like this similar with an Anthony Walker who comes off of Cleveland's team, injured, just needs a new start, signs up cheap. I mean, his projected cap hit is $4.4 million per year. Like, you can't complain about that. That's a solid pickup for a guy who grades well. I would like to see more from him, but it would have to be on the Bills for him to become a Bill. Because if he goes somewhere else and shows more, they're not going to let him go. He's a good player from that perspective. So, not a lot to talk about him, but it's easy to see where people get kind of enamored with him. It looks like I'm missing the slide here. Yep, there it is. Yeah, my 9 slide was missing. Thank God I didn't just throw up 8. Now, on the defensive side, a lot of us want to shore up the defense so we can go in the draft and focus on offense. I have no idea. Adam Thielen signed with the Panthers. Panthers are loading up to get that quarterback some weapons. Good for them. I'm not a Panthers fan, but I live here in North Carolina, and so I appreciate the Panthers, a little bit. They kind of hold a little place in my heart. Just over here a little bit. I like them, but if they play the Bills, screw them. They can kick rocks and get that butt whooped just like anybody else. All right, so next player. Next player is a defensive tackle, right? He comes from the Pittsburgh Steelers. His name is Wormley. Chris Wormley from the Steelers. And this guy graded well. He graded well. He had 19 solo tackles, so clearly he's a rotational guy. 7 assists, 1 forced fumble, 1 sack, 9 hurries, 1 QB hit, 11 pressures. Solid numbers for a guy who's rotating in there. We all know who the big fat guy in the middle of their defense is, number 97, Hayward. This guy was probably in there rotationally or backing him up. And he put up solid numbers for somebody who's doing that role. Overall, 74.3 PFF grade. Run defense, 78.2. Thank God. We need some run, right? And against the pass, 58.1. Estimated salary, $5.9 million. I can definitely swallow that better than Punam Ford's because Punam Ford's salary cap hit was like 9 something, right? For that, give me the budget guy if he's just going to be a rotational guy. And the thing about Wormley is he is a freaking weight. He's 300 pounds even, so he's most likely a 3-tech. So you'd be looking at a guy who's going to compete with Tim Settle for his job. I like the player. I like the motor. I like what he's doing, but it is what it is. Roy Collins in the comments, Thielen's not what he used to be. He's not, but he's also kind of old. He's getting up there in age. But Chris Wormley is a guy who I think the Bills could target, and they could really use a guy like that who can come in and just go out there, do his job, run downs. You get downhill, you stop players in the backfield, and you allow your team the ability to get the ball back on offense. It's what we need on the defensive line. We have enough guys to try and get after the quarterback. Ed Oliver's whole purpose is to get at the quarterback from the inside, and it's hard for him to do that when Daquan Jones isn't in there. On rundowns, you can give Ed Oliver a break, put this guy in there, and he can go after the running backs. Now, my number 8 player, offensive tackle. Okay, offensive tackle. This guy played for the Buccaneers. He's a nice offensive tackle. Defensive line. I was looking at the wrong thing. My bad, guys. So defensive lineman Akeem Hicks from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had 12 solo tackles. He had 5 assists. He had 0 forced fumbles, 1 sack, 4 hurries. He had 3 QB hits. He had 8 pressures. He had 61.9 grade on PFF. He had run defense grade of 65.7, another guy who's good against the run. And he's also, in the pass defensive side, it's 58.6. Salary estimated at $5.5 million. So I would be all for going to get him because Akeem Hicks is a big guy. He is a big guy. I'm actually pulling up his weight now. I didn't put all that stuff on there. I didn't have enough room. 324 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal is Akeem Hicks. Now, Akeem Hicks is a guy who can come in here and he can then be the backup to a Daquan Jones, just like Punam Ford. They're both the one techniques. They're guys who are going to sit there and eat blocks. I would prefer this man over Punam Ford. The salary cap looks better, right? And then, again, the size is there and the work ability is there. I like Akeem Hicks. He also played for the Bears before. Solid pickup right here if the Bills go after him. Wouldn't be mad one bit. I actually like that choice. Now, I'm not sure what you guys think, but we are breezing through this list. But don't worry. We still have plenty of things to talk about afterwards. And you guys can give me your opinions, too, on who's out there that maybe I didn't list, right? And we can talk about it. Is my number 7 slide missing, too? Come on, man. 7. Where you at? Get up there, buddy. I'm also missing 5. Did all my even numbers at the top just go away? There we go. So, getting back to the list, number 7 on the list, Yannick Ngakoue from the Colts. Now, this man is purely pass rush. He's not really good against the run. He is purely pass rush. But his numbers are solid. Solo tackles, 26. Assists, 6. Forced fumbles, 1. Sacks, 6. So 6 sacks, right? Hurries, 30. QB hits 9 and pressures 45. That pressures number is where he makes his money, making quarterbacks move when they don't want to move. However, his overall PFF grade was 51.4. His run defense grade was 43.7. And his pass rush grade, 56.9. He doesn't grade very well, and his estimated cap hit is high. So he probably should be lower on my list. I don't know how he made it this high. Maybe I was just tired by the time I got to that position. But he is a guy who could come in and really, make a difference on the edge in a rotational basis. Honestly, I'd rather bring back Shaq Lawson, who can steal the edge and play the run better. But when it comes to players with talent, this guy's one of those guys. Give me one sec. Sorry, guys, that Sudafed's wearing off. Allergy season is killing me. All right. So, Yannick Ngakoue, he made it to 7. I don't know how. I probably should have put him lower on my list, but he is that high. I think my top 6 guys, though, are pretty legit. And we'll start here. Cornerback Marcus Peters of the Ravens. 40 solo tackles, 6 assists. 2 forced fumbles, 1 sack, 5 missed tackles, or 8 missed tackles, excuse me, it looked like 5 for a second, 1 interception. He allowed a passer rating of 116.3. I think at this point in his career, he's going to be more suited for a zone defense than he is the Ravens' top flight man coverage defense, where they have Humphreys and they had Peters and they had a bunch of other guys who just were solid out there in coverage, man to man. Marcus Peters is not that anymore. Yards per catch allowed, 11.8. Overall, 67.6 grade. Run defense grade, 57, so he's not really a tackler. Pass rush is 78.6, meaning he's good at blitzing off the edge. And coverage is 69.5. So solid grades for the spots where you want as a corner. For me, I'm not signing a corner, right? Especially at $9.8 million when I have Kareem Hunt, who I've been grooming for a whole year. And, I think that Peters is a guy who could come in if you really needed to. If he's still out there in the market after the season starts and a Trey White gets hurt or a Kareem Hunt gets hurt, you have a guy out there who you can go get. But personally, I'm leaving him alone myself. Roy says, Ngakoue was someone we could have used 3 or 4 years ago, not anymore. I agree. I think that he's over the hill, but he's still a guy you can use, just not at that price. Not that price. That price was rough. All right, back to it. Marcus Peters, again, solid defensive back. In the later years of his career, it may be maybe time for him to hang him up in the next 2-3 years. But I think that he's a solid guy if you want to pick somebody up to allow them to grow. It's a pass for me. It's a pass for me too at that price point. At $9.8 million, it's a pass for me. I have Kareem Hunt. I got Trey White. I got Taron Johnson. Christian Benford. We brought back Dane Jackson. I know it was just thought about that, but you know what? He's here. So we have guys who can come in there and that fit this defensive scheme. You don't have to have the best corners in this scheme. This scheme is very corner friendly. When you do have a really good corner like a Trey White, though, it's awesome. And Kareem Hunt was showing signs this past year of figuring stuff out. I have hope for Kingsley Jonathan. Me too. He actually impressed me last year when he got to play. He is all go and no quit. The man does not care at all. He is just running. Now, he had a couple penalties, but he's trying to make the roster, man. He's hungry. So go for it, man. I like Kingsley Jonathan. I like him. All right, so next player up, my number 5 player. Tackle, Donovan Smith from the Buccaneers. And this is why I said tackle earlier and I got confused and I couldn't see his name. His overall grade is 58.1. Pass blocking, though, 70, which is awesome. That's why he's up there on the list for me, is that pass blocking grade, right? Run blocking, 41.5. I think our guards need to be the run blockers for the most part. We need to be running up the middle. He had 12 penalties, 6 sacks allowed, and 7 hits allowed. Estimated salary, $19.5 million. For that reason right there, it's a pass for me if it's that price. Now, personally, I think that at this point in free agency, the prices are coming down, right? The prices are coming down. We were just talking about DBs, Hyde, Poyer, White, Elam, Johnson. Bills got a top secondary when healthy. Facts. That's facts. 100% facts. Now, if you want to get a guy who's going to protect Josh's right side, this is a guy right here you look at. Probably the best tackle on the market that you can get. And he can go out there and he can compete with Spencer Brown or just take Spencer Brown's job. Depends on what they really want to do with Spencer Brown. I see the Bills keeping Spencer Brown a while for, to see if he's going to be able to take care of business and show them what he's made of. I think that this guy here, though, if they're not fond of Spencer Brown and are ready to move on, that's a guy they can go get. That right there. Just not at that price. 19.5 for 3 years, sure. 19.5 a year? Thank you. No, thank you. Now, moving right along. Next player on the board, back to the defensive side, we have Justin Houston of the Baltimore Ravens. He's getting up there in age, but this man's just freaking produces. He just goes out there and puts up numbers. He just goes out there and hits quarterbacks. He just goes out there and gives you everything he's got every single time. It's impressive that at his age, Justin Houston can still go out there and manhandle teams and just do his thing out there. It's a thing of beauty, honestly. I'm surprised that man right there is still in the league. But you know what? He's still in the league. The man was born in '89. He is freaking 34 years old, right? But he is a physical freak, 6'3", 270 pounds. The man had 8 solo tackles, 2 assists, 1 forced fumble. But the man had 11 sacks. This is a rotational guy who's going to cost you $5.3 million, and his only thing is to go get QBs and snack on them for lunch. That's what this guy does. The one thing that Bills fans were complaining about this past year was when Von Miller went down, we didn't have a sack master. This is the guy. This is the guy. Hurries, 22. QB hits 6. Pressures, 39. Overall grade, 73.6. Run defense grade, 66.4. So he can play the run too. He can play the run too. Expected salary, $5.3 million a year. It's probably not going to be that high. We're in that part of free agency where he's just not going to make that much. His production may be worth that much, but they're not going to pay him that much. He's already 34 years old. He's going to be 35 soon. He's older than Von Miller, right? And he's not the Hall of Famer that Von Miller is. However, this guy just produces. Get him now, right? That's what. Get him now. Go get him right now. That's what I'm saying. You give this man $2.5 million a year with incentives. Look, here's what you do. You give him a 2-year deal, $10 million, or excuse me, $7.5 million, right? But you allow it to be a $10 million contract, and you can get out of it after the first year, right? So if the first year goes to crap and he can't do anything, you can then cut him and not lose anything the next year. So you give him incentives to make up the difference. So if you get to 5 sacks, that's another $250K. You get to 10 sacks, another $250K. You get, 50 tackles, another $250K. You force some fumbles, or whatever number that they decide, force 2 fumbles, another $150K. You can stack those incentives like that. So that way he's worth keeping the next year and worth taking that salary cap hit. I think that the Bills could really use this guy here, especially on rotational downs. And that would allow them to trade a Boogie Basham away if they really wanted to do that. I'm not sure that they do because, again, the third-year thing. They like to keep their guys in the third year at least. They did it for Zay Jones, that they traded him. He was his third year. He wasn't showing anything. He had to go. Now he's, very good receiver with the Jaguars. He's solid. But Yannick Ngakoue, man, or not Yannick Ngakoue, Justin Houston, man, that guy just freaking produces. Every year, that man shows up, shows out, balls out, and just does his freaking job to the maximum ability. And it's probably because he doesn't get so many snaps. So he's always fresh. And then you unleash that dude who is a beast on the hordes of the offense so he can get around that edge and get to the QB. It's a beautiful thing to have somebody like that who you can afford to keep on the roster at a low number and just let him eat. Let him eat. Waiting to see if Brandon Shell made your list. No. He did not. I'll let you know now. The rest of my list is pretty clear cut. So my next guy, another pass rusher, Frank Clark. So the Chiefs let him go. Basically a cap clearing issue. He is still really freaking good. Solo tackles, 26, 6 assists, 1 forced fumble, 6 sacks, 30 hurries, 9 QB hits, 45 pressures. He's checking all the boxes, right? If you want to go get a pass rusher who's going to be a jack of all trades, this is your guy, right? He's not great at any one thing, but he's good at everything. Overall grade, 67.2. Run defense, 61.2. Pass defense, 62.9. Those are all above average. He's really good at everything. He's not great at anything. He's got good instincts. That estimated salary of 12.4, I don't see that being the case. Again, with most of these players, their estimated salary comes from Spot Track, however you say it. All those estimated salaries came from Spot Track. So, with that being said, I don't think he's going to get that much money. He's also getting up there in age. I'll pull that up. He's been around for a while, and this will be his 3rd or 4th major contract. I don't see Frank Clark making that freaking, what is it, $12.4 million, $12.5 million. I don't see it happening. He's 29 years old, 6'3", 272 pounds. He's from Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland might be looking to go scoop him up. I don't know if they want to bring back a hometown kid, but yeah, Frank Clark is good. He's damn good. We Bills fans know that he's pretty freaking good. So I would go get him if his cap numbers are going to be lower, and I'm 90% sure it is. But Frank Clark, absolute stud, and he can do some damage, especially here in the AFC East. We don't have a lot of good quarterbacks here in the AFC East yet. Aaron Rodgers might be coming, but he ain't here yet. So let's go. My number 2 player, right? And it's again, if it's cost effective and for what he brings to the team, right? And I know some of you guys are going to disagree with this, but I think that he's a fit for this roster. He's also a kicker. Kareem Hunt. Now, he played the backup role to Nick Chubb. Everybody knows the Bills needed a running back, right? Like if people are talking about Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott. People were talking about Bernard Pollard before the season started. We were talking about getting another running back, right? And Kareem Hunt for the Browns was pretty freaking good whenever he saw the ball. And he puts up, 3 yards per carry? And he's a low cost player. Let me look up his size. We've all seen what he can do, though. We've all seen what he can do when he was with the Chiefs. He's 5'11", 215 pounds. This right here fits the power and speed mold that the Bills would use as a back. 123 carries, 468 yards, 3.8 yards per carry, 3 rushing touchdowns, 35 receptions, 210 yards, 1 receiving touchdown, and 1 fumble on the season. They estimate him at $7 million. If that's the price point, keep him. I'm good. But if his price comes down, we're talking like significantly down from $7 million because I don't see it happen. I don't see any team doing that. Teams seem reluctant to give away money this year, except the Broncos, to protect Russ. Good luck. But Kareem Hunt, to me, is a fit for this team with his play style. Maybe not necessarily with his character, but I think that they can help grow from there. Plus, he hasn't had any incidents since he got to Cleveland. He's a guy to look at. But my number 1 guy for the Bills, this would fill the number 1 hole for me, is Bobby Wagner, B-Wags. And I got a lot of people in conversations telling me that Bobby Wagner is over the hill and Bobby Wagner is this and Bobby Wagner is that. And I'm like, Bobby Wagner was a top 6 linebacker in the NFL last year. He was a second-team All-Pro. And he was the first name on that second-team All-Pro ballot. So I'm guessing that Bobby Wagner is the 4th best linebacker in the NFL. Bobby Wagner had 89 tackles this past year, solo, and had 44 more assisted tackles. He had 0 forced fumbles, but he had 6 sacks. 6 freaking sacks for Bobby Wagner. He only missed 4 tackles all year. The passer rate he allowed was 92.4, which is not as good as our old guy, Tremaine Edmonds. But the man can play coverage. He can play coverage. Get Wagner, he would be perfect fit. I think he is too. I think that Bobby Wagner would be the perfect fit for this defense. He is a balanced linebacker. My man Peter in the comments, this is Izzy time. You damn right it is. Bobby Wagner's overall grade this year at his age, and I'm going to pull his age up real quick so we can talk about that. People keep telling me he's over the hill. He's old. He's not over the hill. He's getting old, though. You sign him to like a 2-year deal. You draft a linebacker this year, next year to replace him, or you let him mentor Terrell Bernard for a year. And, Terrell Bernard can bulk up a little bit probably. This guy right here, he's 32 years old. He's got some time left. He's got 2 years, probably 3 left in the tank. 6 foot, 242 pounds. People saying that Balin Spector is undersized. Balin Spector, right, is like 6 foot, 235. Let me look him up too now. I almost think that Balin Spector might have a better chance at this starting spot than Terrell Bernard. 6 foot, 233 pounds. So, yeah, I was pretty spot on with Balin Spector. If you see anything in Balin Spector and you think they can develop, you put a Bobby Wagner in front of him for a year or two, you may be developing a 7th-round pick to be a stud in this defense. Now, do I think that's going to happen? I have no idea. You never know when some 7th-round pick's going to light it up. Jordan Poyer was a 7th-round pick. Micah Hyde's a 5th-round pick. Stevie Johnson was a 7th-round pick. You just never know when they're going to come out, right? But if you're going to get somebody to mold your linebacking crew into studs, This is the guy. Overall grade, 90.7. Run defense grade, 91.1, meaning he can tackle the runners. He does not second-guess himself when playing the rush at all. At rushing the passer, 71.7. In coverage, 77.9. All of those grades are very good. All of them. Estimated salary, 9.3. That's going to come down. That's not going to be what it is. It's just highly unlikely that that's what it is. Most likely, Bobby Wagner will probably get paid around the $6 to $7 million mark. I'll take it. Tremaine Edmonds got 18. You give me Bobby Wagner for $7-8 million? Gimme. Give me Bobby Wagner. That's my number one free agent left on the market is Bobby Wagner. Drew Tranquill was up there for me before he got signed by the Chiefs because his low cap hit and how he fit the defense. Right now, it's Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner is number one. And to me, it fills a hole that you can then go into the draft and focus on whatever the best player available is. You already went and got a guard in Connor McGovern, and that was the biggest hole we need to fill. And we didn't just get a guard in Connor McGovern. We got a guard who is a special pass blocker, right? Not very good against the run or run blocking. However, I also don't know if that's a scheme issue with Dallas. But I do know that when it came to pass blocking technique, this guy was legit. Connor McGovern, very good. And the concern to the left is Josh Allen's health anyway. So he's probably going to play left guard. That is Josh Allen's blind side. Roger Saffold just wasn't doing the job. Graded out very poorly in the 40s in pass blocking. This guy grades out in the 70s, McGovern. So we got the guard. We're good. We also brought back Butker for depth. We also have Mance on the practice squad, future reserve list. Bates is still there. Bates is a very solid offensive lineman. He's fine. Mitch Morse, still on the team. Mance is a good guy who can play both guard and center. You have that covered. We can go ahead and draft one in the draft anywhere, wherever they're available. If you get the first round and all your special guys are gone, but Avila is there. Esteban Avila, Steve Avila from TCU. You can go get him. If it's Bijan Robinson, you can go get a Bijan Robinson, who is my favorite guy to get in this draft right now. Bobby Wagner is an old man. His farts collect dust. He's not an old man. He's 32 years old. He's not old. Totally disagree with this, and I actually just went against this whole thing. He literally just had the best year of his career. Don't believe me? Here's the numbers. Overall graded 90.7. I don't know if it's the best year of his career. I might be exaggerating with that. Best year of his career, right? But you catch my drift. The man was an all-pro this year. I don't want to hear nothing about Bobby Wagner's fart, whatever. Bobby Wagner was a beast this year on a bad LA Rams team. And now he's looking for a new home, and I'm hoping that he comes to Buffalo on a 1 or 2 year deal, and we'll be good to go. Von Miller's 33, Wagner's younger, so what the hell? Bring him in if he's affordable. Exactly. You bring in Bobby Wagner for a year or two. You're not bringing him in for like a long contract like Edmund or like Von Miller. Pass rushers, clearly, if you look at the list I showed, like Justin Houston's 34, pass rushers last a little longer, as long as they're healthy and they take care of themselves, which Von Miller does take care of himself. But Bobby Wagner, 2-3 years tops is what I'm saying for him. 2-3 years tops. Yeah, Bobby Wagner, I'm down for it at the right price. Me too. The price is really what it has to be because the Bills don't have that much space. And we don't need to be kicking every can down the road. The Bills are doing what they're doing is they're kicking certain cans down the road, the cans that they can afford to kick. Now, if you're going to force them to kick a can that doesn't need to be kicked, they're not going to do it. They'll just draft somebody. And there's some guys in the draft who I like. I talked about them in my last show. So hopefully Buffalo is considering Wagner. I've heard that they've had conversations with his people. And Derrick Henry, I would not go after Derrick Henry. He's a 29-year-old running back. It's not the same. Like, he's a running back. Right? And his number is high right now, so we'd have to trade for him. So we'd have to give up capital, right? Unless they release him, which is possible. But if it's not possible, then why would you do that? Right? If he's a free agent, then you can go after him. If he's looking for a ring, then he'll come to Buffalo. But I'm not trading for him. Absolutely not. Man. Mock draft. All right, so we are through my list of 15 people. I've made my pitch for Bobby Wagner, and I said that I will do a mock draft as long as there is a demand for it. So let's see. Mock draft. Here we go. So this is one I found, and I actually like it a lot. It's not the PFF one. The PFF one uses their own grade. It has to be the right deal. Absolutely, it must be the right deal. I love Bijan too. Guy is an absolute monster of a runner. His broken tackles are insane. Not only that, so I was watching tape on Bijan Robinson. He's not just a tackle breaker. He definitely is a tackle breaker. Bijan Robinson is what you get when Nick Chubb and LaShawn McCoy have a baby. Like, he breaks tackles, he breaks ankles, scoreboards. Like, he is a monster. Bijan Robinson is a monster. He is a generational running back. Again, he is the baby of LaShawn McCoy and Nick Chubb. He will hammer you. He will juke you. He's so good at finding the hole, even when it doesn't look there is one there. He slips through cracks like LaShawn McCoy. He is a hammer when it's time to be the hammer. I love. Now I can't get that picture out of my head. What are you talking about? That's weird. Anyways, I don't know. I don't want to think about what you're picturing. But he is just a guy who will get out there and get dirty. And if he can just shake you out of your shoes, he will. I would say Adrian Peterson-ish, but he doesn't run like it. Doesn't look like Adrian Peterson when he runs. But just the movement is crazy. Let's see. One of my steals in the draft is wide receiver Cedric Wilson out of Tennessee. He was better than Hyatt before he got hurt. All right, so the mock draft simulator that I'm using today is the mockdraftdatabase.com simulator. So what that is it's a website that compiles mock drafts, and it ranks the players based on mock drafts that have been put out there by other people. So here we go. Give me 1 second. I have a son here looking for something. All right, just getting dinner sorted. All right, here we go. Let's see. Comments again. If Robinson is available at 28, I'm running to the podium. Yeah, tell me about it. Bijan Robinson is a beast. I mean, I guess it's technically the 28th pick, but it's really the 27th pick because the Dolphins forfeited their pick for cheating. But all right, let's go ahead and pick these Bills. Boom. And we're going to do all 7 rounds, normal speed. And we're going to enter the draft room. Here we go. And start. Here we go. Bijan Robinson went to Baltimore. Damn it. Lamar's not going to be happy. All right, so here's a trade opportunity, guys. Yes, he's a much better prospect than Breece Hall, easily. Much better. Like, it's not close. Like he said right there. All right, so we didn't get Bijan Robinson, right? The players we have left on the board, we have 5 trades available. We have some guys on the board. The Texans are offering us their their second-round pick at 33, their third-round pick at 73, and 3 seventh-round picks to move up. The Broncos are offering us dog crap. The Seahawks are offering us second and a fourth. Nope. The Colts are offering us a second, a third, and a fourth. So should I move back? Yeah, let's move back in the draft. Screw it. So we're moving back into the second round. And we have some players on the board here. We have Brian Branch from Alabama, Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, Darnell Washington, tight end from Georgia, Manuel Forbes, cornerback from Michigan State, looks like, linebacker Drew Sanders from Arkansas. That name right there, Drew Sanders. I think he's one of the linebackers I liked. Let me go ahead and take a look at that real quick. Paste. Drew Sanders. 6'5". Whoa. Man, is this the same guy? It says he's from Arkansas. Arkansas, there we go. Pulling him up. 6'5", 233 pounds. So I think it's going to be Drew Sanders right here. I have the 35th pick, and yeah, I'm taking the linebacker. We don't need a corner. We don't need tight ends. The safety, Brian Branch from Alabama. He's on the board too, though. That's tough. That is tough. Man, oh man, do I want the safety with the first round grade in the second round? I know he's not going to be there later. I'll take the. What do you guys think? You guys think I should go to safety or should I go to linebacker? We'll give you all a few seconds to chime in here. Man, I'm not going for tight end, linebacker, Laurie. Right tackle, Darnell Wright. Drew Sanders, okay. I got one in the comments for Drew. Take Darnell. Darnell, where's Darnell? I missed him. Darnell Washington's a tight end. I don't know if I'm taking a tight end, man. We really need a linebacker. Like if we don't get a Bobby Wagner, we need a linebacker. Tight end though, like we just signed Dawson Knox to that big deal. Like I don't know if I'm spending a first round pick on a tight end. I think I'm gonna go with Drew. Yeah, we're taking Drew. It's my better judgment there, I guess. If Washington's there, our next pick, we take him. Nope, he's not there. Okay. No, thank you, Washington. You guys can kiss it. Nope. 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 Okay, so on the board right now, top 3 picks. Linebacker Trenton Simpson from Clemson. He's on there. Man, Kenny Riggleman is chewing up my pick. You know, with McDermott taking over the defense, right? I'm going to address this comment here. With McDermott taking over the defense, looking at the way the Panthers ran their defense when he was the defensive coordinator there and he was calling the plays, they had a guy who was really good in coverage in Kuechly, and they had a monster blitzer in Thomas Davis, right? They probably making a shift more towards that McDermott style of defense. It's probably where they're going. My guess is you get yourself a guy who can really get after the run and blitz, like a Drew Sanders, and you allow Milano to scan the field. Also, you have Taron Johnson. I think the Bills are going to move more towards that because I think Leslie Frazier, like I know that this defense has always been McDermott's defense, right? It's always been his scheme. However, the guy running it has been Leslie Frazier. Now Leslie Frazier is no longer running McDermott's defense. Leslie Frazier is far more conservative within McDermott's defense than McDermott would be within McDermott's defense because it is McDermott's defense. Does that make sense? If it was Leslie Frazier's defense, Leslie Frazier is usually more aggressive within his own defensive scheme. But as a Bills fan, I've noticed that the team has been more conservative running McDermott's scheme with Frazier behind the helm. Because maybe Frazier's not as comfortable. So I think that getting a good blitzing linebacker is important. especially if you're going to blitz and try and get to the quarterback more, which I see the Bills doing so from, blitzes and stunts. So, right here at 59, our top players left are Trenton Simpson from Clemson. We just took a linebacker, so we're not going there. Luke Musgrave from Oregon State, tight end. And then the offensive lineman, Steve Avila from TCU, who I really, really freaking like. My man John Herring says, look at the offensive line. I know you don't draft for need, but you also don't draft, you also don't draft guys that you don't really need, especially if you do have a glaring hole. And if they match your need and their draft position where you had them on the board, sometimes you got to do that. The Bills this year don't have the luxury, in my opinion, to go after the BPA every time. They just don't. So looking at this, the best player available would be the linebacker, even though we just took one. To me, you go with Steve Avila, the offensive lineman from TCU. He's a monster. So there we go. Steve Avila. My man Roy says, wide receiver, we'll get there. Remember, I traded and I got some picks. So we're in the third round, number 79 overall. These guys want to move up to 79, give us 88, 127. Not seeing. I wish I could just take this down and put it back up. So they want that. No. So we're not doing that. We're definitely not doing that. We're definitely not doing that. Okay. So on the board, interior offensive line. That's the second time in a row. Second pick in a row where what I just drafted is also the best on the board right now. So I can go after another guard in Cody Mauch from North Dakota State and have this offensive line humming for however long. Or I can go with the offensive tackle in Matthew Bergeron from Syracuse. Running back Devin Achani from Texas A&M is on the board. Also safety Sidney Brown, who I really, really like, on the board. And those are the suggested players. What do you guys think? Should I run that? One guy says Brown. Sidney Brown. Okay, I really like Sidney Brown. What else you guys got? Anybody out here got an opinion on this? Come on, guys. I know someone's got something. No? Okay. So and that tackle and that guard are looking good to me right now. But that safety, Sidney Brown, I think is much better than 66 overall. All right, we got some Browns in here. Bergeron can slide into guard. Okay. I'm getting Browns, though. So we're going with Sidney Brown, who is a very, very good safety from the University of Illinois. His numbers and his movement scream Jordan Poyer to me. They really do. All right, we got a trade here. They want to give us the third, 103, 136, and I'll take that one. Move back 12 spots and then get another pick next round at a seventh. Boom. See what we got. Move back again. Reject that. Thank you. Reject that. Thank you. Nope. Okay. So we're on the board again. Once again, the last thing I drafted is the number one thing left on the board. Jordan Battle, safety out of Alabama. We just drafted a safety. Wide receiver Tyler Scott from Cincinnati. Let's go ahead and look up some information on him. Because I saw some of you guys say wide receiver, and let's see how interesting it is. Let's see. Tyler Scott, American football player. Cincinnati Bearcats, 5'11", 185. Let's see if we have some combine scores. Let's see. Cincinnati Bearcats, junior, 5'10", 177. That's what you measured at the combine. His combine score was a 78, which is good. 40-yard dash of 4.44, 10-yard split 1.51, vertical jump of 39.5, broad jump of 11. Wow, okay. NFL comparison, T.Y. Hilton. Is anybody down for that? Tillman. I'm seeing some stuff here. No, Scott. I've seen Tillman. I would also be good with Tillman. Okay. So, Cedric Tillman, wide receiver. Oh, okay. Let me look up Cedric Tillman real quick. I do think that we can use some size at receiver. Come on now. And hopefully Tillman fits that bill. Let's take a look at Tillman. So Cedric Tillman is 6'3", 213. Yow, okay. Same score, 78 with the total score. 40-yard dash, 4.54, 10-yard split, 1.53, vertical jump, 37, broad jump, 10.8. Michael Pittman Jr. is his comp. Okay. We got Battle over here. We got Parker Washington or Tillman. I'm seeing a whole lot of Tillman, so we're going to go with Tillman. Tillman it is. Wait 1 second, guys. I got to close this window. It's getting cold in here. Yeah, North Carolina has no idea what it wants its weather to be. Has no clue. All right, so left on the board, Tyler Scott is still there. So I guess you guys might have been right about that. Offensive tackle Jalen Duncan from Maryland. Little puppy's freaking out over here. Come here. While everybody's on the show, check it out, guys. I'll stop the share for a second. This is newest addition to the family. Her name is Luna. She is a Kangal German Shepherd mix. But she's messing with stuff she don't need to be messing with. You go play. All right, let's go back to sharing. All right, so see what your comments are. Double level safety for bat. Okay, I already read that one. Time to look for running backs. Okay. Let's take a look at running backs, or what's on the board now. We have a tackle and Jalen Duncan. Looking at their recommendations. We have Henry To'o from Alabama, linebacker. We already got a linebacker. Keyshawn Boutte is out there. Nathaniel Dell. Running back Tyjae Spears out of Tulane. I have heard of him, but I don't know much about him. So if anybody knows anything about Tyjae, let me know what you guys got. I'm about to look up his combine stuff, if you even went to the combine. Tyjae Spears, Jr., he's from Louisiana, went to Tulane in Louisiana. He's 5'10", 201. He kind of fits the same mold that our guys we currently have fit. He didn't run a 40. I'm not looking at him. Dude, it's going to be 20 today here in North Carolina. It's going to be cold. 17 is cold. 20 is not far off. It's supposed to be – the high today was 52, 57, something like that. But then the nighttime is when it gets bad, man. Say Kendre Miller, running back TCU. Let's see if he's on the board. We got Trevius Hodge Tomlinson, cornerback from TCU. We got linebacker DeMarvion Overshown from Texas, linebacker. Okay, let's just isolate running backs. RB. So we have Kenneth McIntosh out of Georgia. He's ranked 105. We are now at 106 pick. Roschon Johnson at 112. Kendre Miller. We can get him a little later. I think right here with this group of running backs that are available between Kenny McIntosh, Sean Tucker, Roschon Johnson, who I really like out of Texas. He is like a Lendale White, LeGarrette Blount type guy. And then Kendre Miller. Let's see what he's about. Let's see. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing. I'm just going to NFL.com and basically looking up the combine information for these guys. Kendre Miller. 5'11", 215. Okay, big guy. Total score 80. Not bad. Did he run anything? No, he didn't do any combine drill, so I don't have any speed or anything like that on him. Okay, well, we're looking there. Need a banger. So if we need a banger, then to me it's Roschon Johnson out of Texas with our next pick. OT. Run. Roschon Johnson to the podium. So that'll be the next pick, I'm pretty sure, because there's a bunch of running backs left, and there's probably going to be a run on him here in a minute. And our next pick is at 130. He's a 122 graded. So let's take a look at the OTs, or look at all players now, right? And so up at the top of the board, offensive tackle, Jalen Duncan, Maryland. Is that what we're thinking, guys? I know I'm almost positive I'm going to get Roschon next pick, but I want to get this line settled for years to come. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the offensive tackle, Jalen Duncan out of Maryland. Boom. See, come on, be there. We're gonna reject that. We're gonna reject that. We're gonna reject that. We're gonna reject that. We're gonna go get our freaking running back. Running back, Roschon Johnson out of Texas. Boom. Duncan is a decent first round pick or fourth round pick. Is that who I took? No, we're not doing that. Jalen Duncan offensive. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I agree there. I forgot his freaking name once I drafted him. My nose is so stuffy. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but so in the draft so far, we traded back a couple times to stack more picks, which the Bills probably could be looking to do. And we got Drew Sanders, linebacker out of Arkansas. We got Steve Avila, interior offensive lineman, TCU. Sidney Brown, safety, Illinois. Cedric Tillman, wide receiver, Tennessee. Jalen Duncan, offensive tackle, Maryland. And Roschon Johnson, running back out of the University of Texas. We have 4 more picks. Let's see if we have any more suggestions from the crowd. We have 2 picks in a row, 136 and 137. So on the board, we have running back. Because I'm looking at running backs. All right, here we go. So now that we've addressed most of the needs of the team, right, which we did it in an order that made sense for the players who were on the board. Sean Tucker's on the board, who I like, but we already have 2 running backs similar to him. Zach Pickens, defensive lineman out of South Carolina. What's the scoop on that guy? Who knows about anything about this guy right here? So I am about to copy and paste his name and do the same thing I've been doing with everybody else. Zach Pickens. Let's see. This is a nice draft. Thank you much. D-line. I'm seeing that. That's what I'm thinking. Yes. Cool. Tight end. Zach Kuntz. Tight end from I'm not sure where he's from, but we'll see if he's there. How are we doing on 3 tech? Not sure yet. There's a defensive lineman on the board. I'm looking at him now. He is 6'4", 291, so he would be a 3 tech. Ran a 4.89 40. Arm length 34 inches and 3/8. Athleticism, not bad. 10-yard split, 1.74. Vertical jump, 30.5. Broad jump, 9.8 or 9 feet 8 inches. 3-cone drill, 7.45. 20-yard shuttle, 4.62. Bench press, 22. Maurice Hurst is his comp. What you guys think? Also, let me see if your tight end's there. Let me see. Tight end. I'm not seeing Kuntz yet. Yeah, he might be gone already, man. Yeah, it appears that your tight end is gone. I'm thinking the defensive lineman here. We also have another defensive lineman here, as in Jacqueline Roy. That's a girl's name. Let's see. Jacqueline Roy from LSU. Total grade 75. Didn't run a 40, but he bench pressed 30 reps. He's 305 pounds, so he'd probably be another 3 technique. His numbers here remind me a lot of Kyle Williams. Let's see. Roy better than Pickens and met with the Bills. Roy, is that okay? So the numbers that I'm looking at here, I haven't watched him play, but the numbers I'm seeing here and this round and being from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, playing at LSU, 305 pounds, 6'3", production score 72, total score 75, all green, athleticism score not that great. It screams Kyle Williams to me. You know what I'm saying? Tight end from Michigan. Let me see if I know what you're talking about here. Tight end. Luke Schoonmaker. He's ranked 126. I have the next 2 picks in a row, so I'll go ahead and get your tight end because I do like Schoonmaker. I've seen his tape. And then we'll go to all, and we will go get what I want in Jacqueline Roy. So we have now a 3 technique and a tight end to add to the list that we had already. At least he's not a boy named Sue. You damn right. I do love that song, though. It was Johnny Cash, right? I heard that song in Afghanistan. All right, let's see. When's our next pick? 205. We are making our way there. Oh, yeah. Oh, I hope he's there. We're rejecting that. All right, guys. So there's a guy on the board who I think is going to absolutely climb draft boards. He is wide receiver Andre Yasovas from Princeton, and I have to take him. I got to do it. Got to do it. 7th round pick. I talked about him on my combine show. He put up very good combine numbers. He is a long receiver, and for a 6th, 7th round pick, can't get mad at that. What do you guys think? He was a good athlete for his size, but I'm not sure if he's like that good of an athlete like that. Also, the guy didn't have a good grade, but he also didn't run a 40. He didn't do a lot of the drills. So a lot of this stuff is screaming at me, Kyle Williams. Double dip at wide receiver is a good thing. And I like this Yasovas kid. Like from Princeton, he's smart. Clearly, he went to Princeton. You have to be some dum-dum at Princeton. Got good range, put up good numbers. Let me see if I can't pull up his combine profile again. Because I've been doing it for everybody else, so why the hell not? Control V. Andre Yasovas. Yasivas, my bad. Yasivas. And he ran everything at the combine. His total score was a 73. His athleticism score was an 84. He ran a 4.43, 1.52 split, 39-yard vertical, or 39-inch vertical, 10-foot, 8-inch broad jump, 3-cone drill, 3.85, 4.12 in the 20-yard shuttle. He is fast. He is an athlete. This, to me, is my guy. Shaq Davis. Like wide receiver Shaq Davis, the Princeton kid is good too. Okay. Let me look at Shaq Davis real quick, see where he's at. I don't see him. Let's go wide receiver. I'm not seeing him. Oh, there he goes. Shaquan Davis. So he's probably going to be an undrafted guy. So, yeah, I'm taking Yasovas. Boom. Princeton. Go get yourself a smart, good guy. Dante Demas. You got to give me a position in the school. Ray, I agree. This is a passing league. Yep. It sure is. And if you get a guy in the 7th round who's that fast and that athletic, you should be able to coach him up, especially if he's that smart. Like that's impressive. All right, last pick of the draft. We have another wide receiver. We have a cornerback in Anthony Johnson from Virginia. We have an interior offensive lineman in Akeem Richards from North Carolina. He's ranked 213. We're at 258. We have safety Jason Taylor II. We have safety Ronnie Hickman from Ohio State. Yeah, we have some guys up here. I think we're gonna stick to the recommendations, guys. Just let me know what you guys think. Take your guy, man. Wide receiver Maryland. I'm seeing here. Wide receiver Maryland. Was there one there? Wide receiver Maryland. I'm not seeing a wide receiver. I'm seeing a wide receiver Arkansas. Maryland. I don't see it. Okay. So if it's me, we already double dipped at receiver. We have 2 offensive linemen, interior and outside offensive linemen. We got a running back. We got 2 receivers. We have a safety, running back, tight end. Okay, so I'm going with the safety from Ohio State. Big school guy. Draft is complete. Save it. And, guys, I will post this one to my Twitter at TFP Rican. You can see it there. First things first, I'm going to have to – oh, there we go. Share my draft. Hashtag Built in Buffalo. Or not hashtag, at Built in Buffalo. At Built in Buffalo. Tweet. And you guys can look over that mock draft that we just did. Right on our thing. QB for the practice squad, Matt Barkley. I got us keeping Matt Barkley around. He's Josh's guy. All right, guys. We have been on for an hour and a half. It has been my pleasure, gentlemen. I really hope to see you guys again next week. Pass rush. I'm hoping that we address that before the draft, but yeah, you killed it. What a draft. Hey, look, I'm probably going to do mock draft every show until the freaking draft because it is fun. I get to interact with you guys. You can give me your input. It's fun. Right? Then you get details about people, in the draft that maybe their draft stock goes up or goes down because they did something bad or they, went out to a pro day and lit it up. You just never know. So it's fun. It's all fun. But, guys, it has been a pleasure to do the show with you guys tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending an hour and a half with me. For those of you guys who spent the whole hour and a half, for those of you guys who are going to rewatch this, enjoy. And for, everybody who just supports me every week and all the new guys, everybody, much love. And I hope that you guys have a great rest of your Sunday and that this week doesn't wear on you. Just to have a good time. Thank you, guys. I'm seeing what a draft. That's a pretty good draft. You guys have been blessed. A blessing to me. I really am happy to be around you guys, especially, even if it's just digitally. But thank you so much. You guys have a blessed day. Enjoy your weekend. Go Bills.